Hi, welcome to the session. Today we're going to look at Coldplay's Hymn for the Weekend and how to recreate that in Logic Pro X. Coldplay is one of the few bands that have adopted current styles of music like hip-hop, dance, and rock and put it together into something that is really successful, and that is very interesting. So let's have a look. So this is a track for Hymn for the Weekend, and this is the vocal track up here, which has Beyonce's and Chris Martin's vocals, and this is the MIDI over here. So let's play the intro. And let's play a part of the verse. Here's how it sounds.
Down when I was hurt, you came to lift me up. Life is a drink.
And let's play the part right before the chorus to the chorus.
It's a drink from me when I was so thirsty. Put on a symphony. No, I just can't get enough. Put your hands on me.
And to the big chorus, you could say. So let's explore the track. Now, this is the intro section with Beyonce's vocals, which I'm not going to get into, but it sounds like this. So there's a lot of layers here. Now, let's get into the main thing in the rhythm, and that's the Yamaha grand piano. That's what I use under the XS24. You can see that I use under acoustic pianos, Yamaha grand piano, and that's the sound I kind of use, pretty straightforward. I want to show you how I constructed this because I find it quite interesting. The piano isn't particularly easy to play, like just play straight up. I can play the keyboards, but I can't play as well as this. So for the benefit of those who can't really play piano, here's how I constructed this. Now, these are many different parts that are playing one piano part, and I'm going to play it for you right now. So it's got a very interesting 1/16th type sound to it. It's got a swing to it. I'm just going to play you the first part I played, which is just this. So I broke it up into little different rhythmic sections that I could play layer by layer. Now I quantized this to 1/8, and that's how it is. And this is the second section. Quantize it over to 1/8 as well. So it's that high note right there. And this is the bass line. So let's hear that. And that's also quantized to 1/8. And this is the interesting rhythm section because it's quantized to 1/16th triplet, which is 1/24. And it sounds like this. It's a bit off rhythm, and when you put it together with the others, it sounds a little bit weird. As if there's something wrong with the rhythm. But put it together with, say, the top and the bottom, you get this basic rhythm that is what it's built upon. And put the high note in. Put the bass in. Sounds pretty mechanical still, right? Well, I added a sustain in. So this is an empty region, but if you look inside the events box, you'll see a sustain control. 64 for number 64 and channel 1 is sustained for the piano, and it's just sustaining it. So if you play it together, it sounds like this. So now it really sounds together, it really sounds sort of like more natural, and it feels like someone's playing everything together. I also sent it to a bus 1, an aux, and on that bus I created a space designer, and I used a large space, rooms, 2.7 seconds medium tail, and that is just kind of the right reverb that I find that works for this. So if you have complex piano bits that you want to play, one of the ways you can approach it is to go layer by layer by layer by layer, and then build it up into something that's more complex and rhythmic. And you might even be able to put something together that a real piano player with 2 hands might not be able to play properly, and that's fine too. As long as it sounds good, I don't really care how it's constructed. So yeah, that's one way to do it. And underneath that is I used a drum machine designer under big room. I took everything out except the compressor, and I sent the bus to the same reverb bus just a little bit. And under this, I just used one thing, which was clap 1. Under deep tech, which you can see here under claps. So you can select your different claps once you selected this, and here's how it sounds. Oh, I actually used 2 claps, sorry. Yeah, there's a clap here, and let's just play it and see where it goes. Yeah, so the snare, sort of a clappy type snare as well, under after party. So I paired them together, and here's how it sounds. Yeah. And sometimes, not in this case, but sometimes if you want to, you can sort of offset them a little bit to give it a bit more, maybe not too much, just a little bit, to get that little clappy kind of sound. Yeah, sometimes you might want to do that. It's kind of by feel, how rich you want it and how you want the clap to work out. But in this case, quantized together over 1/4 is fine. Now let's go to this section over here. And this I just picked up under acoustic drum kits, drums and percussions, acoustic drum kits, Indie Live. And it's just the kicks. It sounds like this. And this is quantized to 1/16 triplet as well. That's the rhythm we have. And I felt it wasn't deep enough, so I picked under drums and percussion, single drums kicks, layer kicks, body kicks C17. I just layered that kick underneath. You know, deep thump about it. So you pair it together. When you're layering kicks, you gotta be careful a little bit about the attack. Sometimes you have 2 attacks that sort of like flam with each other, and it doesn't sound good. In this case, it sounds fine. So that's how I got the sort of like the body of this with the depth of this, and that's kind of works out quite fine. Now here there is this symbol like things, and I picked under World Asian kit, and it sounds like this. It's a pretty straightforward thing. It kind of plays together with the snares slash claps, right? Sorry, not this one, it's this one. Yep. And you can hear that the reverb is really, really splashy. So instead of sending it over a bus, I actually put the whole reverb right as an insert itself. And I pick a large space Hall's long reverb. So it's longer than what we have before. And it's also just splashier. and it works with everything together quite well. And with the piano, so that's just copying across the whole intro until we reach this section, and you get a little like top end here. And this is obviously not the same kind of loop that they have in the original song, but it works pretty much the same way. So I picked this from the loop browser, and I search for like different rhythmic loops. In this case, I search for Turkish, I think. Yeah. So Turkish Calm Rig 3. And I drag it into an audio track, and that was that. So it sounds like this.
Life is a drink and love's a drug.
You hear a little bit of the remnants of the high end on this track.
Drink and love's.
Because it's not a pure -1, but sorry, it's not a pure vocal track only, but you get the idea of what the top end is supposed to do.
Drink and love's a drug.
Now the interesting thing about this song is these 3 parts, right, are quite different parts. Like this part is sort of a piano and drum kind of thing, and then this part is a really hip hop kind of section, and then we go to sort of like a band type section. So Coldplay these days is really interesting with their kind of approaches to creating sounds, not just the band type sound, and I think that's why they stay relevant. So let's listen to the second section.
I said, drink from me when I was so thirsty.
Now, the drums are pretty much the same, just different rhythms, so they're using the same kicks. Just a different rhythm, same snares slash claps as well. What's interesting is more towards what the horns are doing. So, okay, in terms of the horn section, I'm just gonna play it, and here's how the horn section sound by themselves. Now, each different section here is doing different things, contributing to different parts of the whole section. And what I picked was under pop horns, funk horn section. And that's what this section here is playing. Sorry, I'll just solo it. For horns, it's pretty good to make them into pretty close chords, which means that the triads are pretty close together. They're not spread apart too widely. That's how you tend to arrange horns. And still sounds pretty fake just by itself. Now let's pick another brass section. And this is under brass, full brass plus. Pretty much playing the same thing, but I think at a lower octave. Now let's put them together, and here's how it sounds. Now it sounds pretty full, nice and full, but I think we need more attack. And that's where this whole staccato section comes in. Under orchestral, brass, full brass staccato, it's just a staccato. So here's how it sounds. So you get the attack that this one doesn't have. So when you pair them together, it kind of works out. And when you pair the high section, not too bad. And here is the bass line. Now the bass line is an alchemy patch. I picked bass, sub bass. I wanted something really deep, so I picked analog subsonic. It stays at sub, and it just plays this line. Really sub sounding bass, but basically following the brass. So if you put them together, it sounds like this. With the drums, with the top line. So that's how you sort of do your brass for, you know, hip hop type arrangements. And you can use these sections like how I did as well. Now, this is what I consider the rock section. And I reckon there are actually electric guitars sort of strumming underneath. I didn't use them because I didn't want to sort of record real guitars for the benefit of people who don't play guitar. So I try to construct everything within Logic itself. So this is also the sub bass, just that the exactly same thing, just that the levels are different. So this one's a higher level of sub bass, it's a lower level of sub bass. So you can create tracks that instead of automating them, you can just create more tracks identically and just pull the levels down. I pulled it down because there's also a bass playing here. And I like this bass a lot for rock type stuff. Under bass, electric bass, Liverpool bass. And it's playing the same line as the top one. You can hear it's deeper with the sub bass. Let's take it out. So that adds that sub bass there, and it keeps a bit more consistency across the whole track. If you suddenly jump from this sub bass to just this Liverpool bass, it's going to sound a little bit weak. And for the drums, I picked a Detroit Garage kit under the drum kit designer, stereo, Detroit Garage. I'm just using the two instruments here. Which is the sort of splashy open hat and the snare, because it pairs with this stuff here, which already has the claps and the kicks. And we have this track, which is like a clean electric guitar, and I picked it from under guitars, electric guitars, clean electric guitar. And without, okay, I put an amp in, but without amp, it just sounds like this. And how I got that rhythm is because I put a MIDI effect in, the arpeggiator, and I put it in the grid. I drew my own pattern, 1/16. A bit too clean, so let's turn on the amp. And I use a sort of Brit reverb with some reverb in. Yeah, and here's how it sounds. Not super realistic in terms of guitar strumming, but in the whole mix it kind of works out. And the next one I have is an Alchemy patch. Under pads, ambient, 90s luscious pad. And here's how it sounds. Pretty luscious pad, and if you mix it with the guitar, I initially had another pad here. I decided to take it out because it didn't really work with it. So here's how it sounds. So here's how it sounds without vocals. So it's sort of approximates some kind of band type guitar playing, and then you go back into the piano again. And then you go to the second verse. And that is it. I hope you learned something useful today, like how to combine different musical styles and arrangements into one single track that works cohesively. If you like this, you can download the project and the link below, and please subscribe for more. See ya.